Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The other big story that we are focusing on this evening. It's been almost a week since the results of the NEET exams were announced, but there's no mitigating the controversy around one of the country's most prominent and prestigious exams. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court of India is set to hear 3 petitions that have been filed against the NEET entrance in the apex court. Now, these petitions are demanding a cancellation of the results and a retest be conducted, as well as an SIT probe into the entire entrance controversy. Now remember, these petitions in the Supreme Court are in addition to a slew of petitions already filed in various high courts across the country. Just remember, one of the key controversies that is plaguing the NEET results was the awarding of grace marks to 1,600 candidates from 6 centers by the national testing agencies because they were reportedly given wrong question papers and not given on time. A committee of experts has already been formed to look into the issue, which recommended that the students should be compensated for their time loss. The issue has already turned political, with the DMK pointing out that it was against the examination system from the very beginning. The Gandhi siblings as well have come out demanding answers from the central government on this issue, with Rahul Gandhi assuring students that he will be the voice of students in parliament. The NEET medical exam now represents the greatest test for the new Modi government, perhaps a pariksha that the Prime Minister may find quite tough to navigate. Let me go across to our guests who are joining me this evening. Sudha R. Halakkai is spokesperson of the BJP, joining us on the broadcast. Sujata Paul is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Thank you very much. And Dr. Syed Hafiz is spokesperson of the DMK. Dr. Amit Gupta is a senior educator at Unacademy. He is joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Amit Gupta, first things first, before I get to the politicians, why ask for the cancellation of the entire exam? There were only 6 centers that were impacted. There were 1,600 students who were given grace marks. But do remember that 24 lakh students had actually written the exam. Now, to pull them through this entire circle of cancelling the results and holding the exams again, is that fair when the government of India and the Education Ministry has already said we've put a mechanism in place to ensure that, no one is, no rightful candidate is left out of the system?
See, the point is, we are not saying that exam should be quashed. But yes, cheaters have to be weeded out, because there are two issues here. One is the paper leak issue, and other is the grace mark issue. And both issues have actually mixed up and complicated the things. And the cutoff is actually inflated. And we are still not sure whether this inflation is due to only grace marks, or is it due to the alleged leak of the question paper also. Now, in case it is due to alleged leak, then obviously this particular thing, the demand for quashing the entire exam, this should be the last resort, which is what we believe. Even in 2015, the only time in the history of pre-medical entrance when the exam was quashed and reconducted, I was a part of that allegation. I actually spearheaded that. And we were managed to cancel the exam because all other resorts, whatever we could have tried to weed out the cheaters, they actually failed. So eventually the honorable judge says that if cheaters cannot be weeded out, then there's no, the sanctity of the exam is breached. Now it is for the investigative agencies to find out whether the sanctity of exam is actually breached. If it is breached, then there is no option but to quash the exam, because it's a competitive exam. It's an exam which of elimination. So obviously, if even a few cheaters are able to get inside, then this will impact the entire system and the entire mechanism. So this is one issue. Other issue is that
Dr. Amit Gupta, but you are constantly saying cheaters. Dr. Amit Gupta, 1 minute, a follow-up question, and then you can conclude your point. Dr. Amit Gupta, the fact is NTA, that's the National Testing Agency, very clearly on record is saying there has been no paper leak. So आप जो cheating की बात कर रहे हैं, NTA has come out and denied it.
See. Obviously, NTA will deny it. The same thing happened 2015. The conducting body, that is CBSE, they continued to deny it. But eventually it was found out that the sanctity has been breached. So they are taking their stand, we are taking our stand. It is for the Honorable Court to decide that who is correct. So we are saying it is an alleged leak. And there are enough evidences to continue the investigation and find out whether really the sanctity has been breached. And I am only saying that if there are cheaters in the merit list, if. So obviously, I am not alleging that cheaters have actually penetrated in, but if there are, then the sanctity is breached. So that is our point. And we also don't want the exam to be quashed if the sanctity is not breached. Because there is another aspect also.
The other point you were making
hard,
about inflated marks.
It will be really torturous for them to, Yeah. So, as the NTA DG has told that 1,583, approximately 1,600 students were awarded grace marks on the basis of a formula which was derived from a CLAT exam. Yeah. Which was derived from a CLAT exam, which was an online exam with a smaller sample size. NEET has a size of 26 lakh students. So it was clearly mentioned in the judgment that this judgment is not applicable for engineering and medical entrance exam. Yet the NTA applied that judgment and that numerical formula to give grace marks. Now this is not in accordance with the law. Second, because of this, there has been such an inflation that we really doubt that are there only 1,600 students which are being awarded grace marks, because the inflation is too much to digest. Had there been only 1,600 students who are the beneficiaries, the ranks would not have, inflated to 25,000, 30,000 back. So this raises the doubt that that might be a paper leak. Or the NTA is not giving us transparency.
Okay, Sudha R. Halka, you're representing the government, you're spokesperson of the BJP. Shak ye hai that the NTA isn't telling the truth. Whether there was a paper leak or not, NTA said no, it's the subject of an inquiry. But what one of the petitioners in the case is saying, we do not even know if the grace marks were given only to 1,600 students or more. Is there an acceptance that the NTA goofed up?
Shreya, first we should not forget that 4 lakh more students have participated in the exam this year compared to the last year. And there are more than 416 colleges, new medical colleges in the past 10 years, and more than 13 AIMS colleges which have been got into existence by our government, and we are really proud of it. And what NTA is saying that there was no question paper leak. Yes, there was no question paper leak according to the authorities. Second thing is now Priyanka Gandhi giving a statement, Rahul Gandhi giving a statement. It is just one more exercise by the Congress government to build up a negative narrative in the minds of the students and in mind of the parents, like the EMA machines, EVM machines, what they have told, and regarding the Aadhaar card, regarding the referrals, and regarding whatsoever, more and more cases. Every time they come up with the allegations, and every time we are come out with a clean sheet. And regarding the grace marks which is given, let me clarify to you. The grace marks is given to the students where the older version of the chapters which was used in the NCRT syllabus was given. The questions were given from those syllabus. For them, they have given the grace marks, and grace marks is given to the students who had the time restraint. So this is the only two reasons where they have given the grace marks. Otherwise, they have not given the grace marks. And when there's number of students more participating in the exam, you tend to get more number of students in the merit list.
Okay, but Sujata, Sudhaji, here's the point. The point is that there was clearly something not right. The NTA kept saying, nahi, kuch nahi hai, everything is okay. Till people started shaming the NTA on social media by putting out things. That's when the NTA says, all right, we will look into it. So please look at the conduct of the NTA as well. Also, I don't, and I'll let Sujata Paul of the Congress respond to this. What's this whole point of why is Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi talking about it? What is the job? What is the job of the opposition? This is the job of the opposition. If something is going wrong, then they have to raise it. That's the job of the opposition. But Sujata Paul, essentially, the BJP's contention is that आप लोगों के लिए अब NEET is the new EVM. पहले EVM, अब उसका मुद्दा खत्म हुआ, so you have started NEET.
the problem with the BJP is that they have still not realized that if they are in government, we are the opposition. It is our duty to raise issues which the government refuses to look at. Why is the Prime Minister quiet on it? Where is the Education Minister? Of course, they've appointed a new one right now, but there will be no comment by them. Now, if you look at this whole thing, and I'm a teacher and I'm a science teacher, so I understand the pain and angst of students. And believe me, Shreya, when students prepare for the NEET, it is not such a simple matter. Children go through so much because they put their regular studies on hold to prepare for the NEET exam. And sometimes they don't appear for their regular exams because they are preparing for the NEET exam. Now, do you expect students to understand what the BJP spokesperson is saying? If the BJP spokesperson really did care about these children, she would be talking about them, because this is a matter about our children and their future. If there are students who are going to court, are they going to ask students why they are going to court? There is a problem, and that problem needs to be addressed. The BJP needs to understand that that brute majority is gone now, and they will have to listen to the opposition also. But you look at it, when we talk about these 67 students, and the excuses come later on from the National Testing Agency that, they got grace marks. But why didn't they say this before? If the marks are 4 marks per question, how is it that they were getting these odd numbers and these weird numbers? So if there has been a paper leak, if you cannot deny that obviously there were students who knew the answers. Also, if you look at that list of students who secured the same marks, that is the rank 1, their roll numbers were one after the other. Is it possible? As a teacher, I can tell you, Shreya, this is just not possible. And the BJP needs to answer this if they really have an understanding of the system.
Can I just get in someone who has been opposed to NEET from day one? This is the spokesperson.
Should the exam not be cancelled? Because,
I'm not so sure.
That you are going to...
I'm not so sure.
I'll tell you why. Because when paper leaks happen, there are lots of students.
See, we never told that no one should
never,
go to the court. We welcome anybody who comes to the court, and we are there to do justice to the people, and we have done it. We have come up with so many years colleges with 2044 medical seats allotted to the students.
If you are not willing to do it, this is your responsibility. Your duty to stand with
education to
ladies,
please.
Because you cannot mark up some students' marks and you believe that no paper leaks have happened. Because unless an investigation happens into the whole thing,
Dr.
how will you
Hafiz.
come to know?
Okay, Dr. Hafiz, can you just come in here as spokesperson of the DMK, a party that is already in the Supreme Court opposing the NEET exam? Have your fears been confirmed with what has happened with this year's exam, and do you believe the results should be scrapped? Because please remember, while we are talking about 1,600 students getting grace marks here, there were 24 lakh students who had written this exam. So conducting the entire exam again will be a logistical nightmare, but more than that, it will be unfair to kids who worked so hard, and then they are saying, nahi, gadbad ho gaya, dobara likh do exam.
See, Shreya, that, we have been opposing the entire exercises of having entrance exams for education. See, the role of the government is to minimize the hurdle for the students coming from the less privileged, from the oppressed societies, to make it easy for them to reach higher education. But what is happening is that these kind of entrance exams have proved that they are creating more hurdles for the people who are coming from the oppressed class, for first generation graduates. This has been proved by the Tamil Nadu government. We had set a committee called the A.K. Rajan committee, headed by a retired High Court justice. No, it is a very, very scientific data collection which showed pre-NEET and post-NEET. They took a pre-NEET system in which the entry of rural students into MBBS, entry of government students into MBBS was very high. As soon as when the NEET came in, it had come down to single digit. That is, it has come to 20%. So the government school students are finding it very difficult to go. From 2006, the DMK government in Tamil Nadu scrapped the entrance system for medical and engineering. So after that scrapping, we saw a huge influx of rural people from oppressed society, people from villages, first generation doctors, engineers becoming doctors and engineers. That was huge. So once this came, this created a kind of disillusionment. They have been rejected that they cannot be a part of an education system. So that is why we have been opposing. So that is the larger picture. We know such kind of entrance exam are really anti-poor, they are really anti-oppressed class, anti-rural, first-time generation. So we have been opposing. Coming to this particular point, the onus lies on the NTA and the union government to come up with a credible test. You cannot accuse us when your own NTA has acknowledged there has been issue. That is why they have kept a redressal committee. If they feel the thing what they did is genuine, they should come and outrightly deny all the charges. How can you come up with a way? The entrance exam which happened for the CLAT was an online exam. There was an ample time for the candidates to prove that they lost the time. But here, who is going to prove it? You cannot just see CCTV and say, I've gone through all the CCTVs and said these people have lost. And another thing that they say is that 4 lakh students have written more. So ideally, people who know statistics, if with 20 lakh students, only 10 people could score between 700 to 720. If you add 4 lakh, it should be another 2 more or 3 more. How is this gone to 67 on all the 67 from one particular coaching center and concentrated around few centers which had exams?
Correct.
That is absolutely flawful. And the second point is, I saw under the panelist was saying, how sure are we that the other marks which have been put up are not inflated? See, as you said, if the NTA was honest in what it did, when the mark sheet came out, they should have come up with a clarification with a star condition apply saying this year due to so reason, we have given grace marks to so-and-so on so-and-so lines. There is absolutely no scientific way to grant marks as per what NTA is trying to say.
Okay. We'll leave it there. Dr. Amit Gupta, I have 20 seconds. I want you to respond to this. The NTA, I'm just beginning my, the last thought that I want on this show is why you think there was a paper leak. Could you quickly give me 2 or 3 data points on why you think this could have been a paper leak? Because that is something that has been denied, and that is something that the Supreme Court will be looking tomorrow as it hears the clutch of 3 petitions, including yours.
Ma'am, there are FIRs in Patna and Gujarat where the investigating officers, the police officers, have clearly mentioned that the sanctity of the exam has been breached. It is there in the FIR. So now why would a police officer write such a remark? So that is a valid reason to hold an inquiry, a high-level inquiry into the matter. And so this is one of the reasons. And many students have traveled from the far east to Godhra and filled it as a center. And that particular center is suspected that they have actually, it has been managed. So there are ample evidences within the investigating authorities, and they are investigating the matter. When the matter is under investigation of the police, how can NTA give a clean sheet to itself with an internal inquiry? Doesn't make sense. The inquiry has to be external and has to be headed. And one more thing I would like to add, that this idea of NEET, one of my panelists is actually questioning the NEET. I would say that cutting across all political parties, there are stakeholders in private medical colleges, and NEET was actually brought to curtail these backdoor entries. So I still feel that NEET is a good idea, but the execution is not perfect. If we can execute it perfectly, then things can improve. So this is what I feel about what.
All right. Thank you very much. Good to have you on the show. Thank you very much. I think we've had a well-rounded perspective on what the Supreme Court is set to hear tomorrow. We'll see how the story plays out, and we are going to come back to this story tomorrow as well once the Supreme Court has made up its mind. For the moment, thank you very much, Sudha Halakai, for joining us. Sujata Paul, good to have you on the show. Dr. Hafiz, thank you. And Dr. Amit Gupta, thank you very much.